mother!
Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Devon Dudley here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And today we have a very special guest, a man that I've been up and down the highways with, and not only that, but creating history in the ring with. None other than the dead man himself, the Undertaker.
What's up,
What's
Reverend?
going on, Take? Well, you know, still doing my Reverend thing, you know,
All right.
from last time I told you, you know, still taking donations. And, you know, the last time I was with you, you know, you forgot to give you a donation in the pot. You know, we were just waiting.
I did it on my phone. I thought.
Yeah, it didn't go through.
Get,
No, the send button didn't go.
It didn't go through?
No, it didn't go through. So we'll take care of that later.
Yeah, man. Just I'll get you. I'll get you on that.
Well, today we're going to be here looking at some of the most extreme matches of The Undertaker and let him give an insight on what it was all about. Let's get started. So right now, Taker, we got you climbing up on a ladder, going up. Wow.
Yeah, this isn't going to turn out well for me, I don't think. If I'm not mistaken, I'm about to take a hell of a bump here. Yo,
man.
Yeah, I don't know how they talked me into that.
Ooh. Now, what's going on through your head when this moment is happening?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking. Like, who the hell talked me into taking this bump?
Jesus.
Yeah, that angle really doesn't do it justice either.
Look, that even just looking at how high it is from just that, any angle at that point for me, I'm scared of heights. So
yeah, it was.
That gets me.
Yeah, I'm not really scared of heights. It's just falling from them. I wouldn't really real high on. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that must have been. They must have had a moment of weakness to agree to do that, man.
Now let me ask you a question. Did you need smelling salt to wake up?
Nah, man, I'm happy right now. You can't tell it, but I'm happy because I know I'm in one piece.
Not only that, but you know it's over at that point.
Yeah, it is over. I just got to lay there. I knew I'd hit the spot. Like I said, that spot didn't look nearly that big from the top. So I'm sitting there going, okay, all right, I did it. And it goes on the highlight reel.
Well, let me ask you a question now. You walk into work that day, or I'm sure it was probably maybe a couple of days prior, and they said, this is where you're going to jump from, this is where they're going to throw you from. What's going through your mind, and who told you this?
Oh, no, this come from Vince. I got hit with the, have you seen the set today? You know, I hadn't been out. I hadn't been
kind
out.
of warming you up for it.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I hadn't seen it, and it was like, oh man, it looks great. It looks great. I was like, oh really? I'm gonna go out and check it out. And so I walked out, and I'm kind of looking around, and you can kind of tell by the way it's built. Like I was like, And about that time, the old man's coming out, and I'm like, somebody flying off the top of this? Well, I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, son of a bitch. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's kind of how that went down.
Man, I mean, there's been so many times where in my career where, the day of is when they tell you when you're going to do what you're going to do. And it's not like you can back out of it.
No, you're there, right?
No, you're there. So
you showed up.
Uh,
See, that's what I would, if I'd, of course, I was with Kane quite a bit, but that's when I have to. You go to the building first, find out what we're going to have to do, and then you call, and then I'll decide whether I'm going to show up or not. I should have played that card more often.
Yeah, actually, I couldn't do that with Bubba because Bubba was like, "Oh, don't worry, it's good.
Devon
Come on in." Yeah, Devon will do it. Won't tell me until I get there.
Yeah,
that was Bubba's philosophy.
Yeah, no, everything's cool, man. Come on down to the building.
Now we're in the next one where you're climbing a ladder. Now, do you remember the match? What match was this?
Yeah, this was against Edge, and I have to hit this table. And again, that wasn't. Yeah, that one was a little hairy because you just never know with the ladders if they're going to slip, and
they're unpredictable.
Yeah, they're unpredictable, and the tables, because of the angle, like you're not coming straight down, so you kind of slide off of it. We got a pretty good break there.
Now, I remember Bubba and Matt Hardy doing that at one of the TLC matches, and that, to me, that was a lot scarier than even the bump I had when I was hanging on for 15 feet up top of the ring. I thought that was the most dangerous spot right there.
Yeah, coming at the angles like that, those are always a little hairy. But I mean, at this point, I feel like I'm still relatively young, and you can't hurt me at this point.
Now, how did that bump feel?
You know what? I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't by no means was it the worst bump I ever took.
Right.
But I feel like at this point I'm still young and indestructible. So,
and everything is in one place.
Yeah, everything's in one place, and that's kind of anytime you see me laying like that after that kind of a big bump,
Right.
I'm assessing how I feel. I was like, does everything move? Everything good? Yeah.
Well,
okay.
at this point at this point in the match, it's over.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you thinking to yourself, this might be the last time I do something crazy like this, or there might be many more to come?
Yeah, no. Every time I take a bump like that, I can mark that one off. I'm not doing this again. This is off the list. Look at me. I'm looking like,
you look like you're
I
at
think I
peace
can
right
move.
now.
Yeah, I'm at peace. Like, yep, everything moves. I'm good.
All right, now this is one of my favorites.
Oh, Lordy.
This was one of my favorites. It's The Rock and The Undertaker versus the Dudley Boys in a tables match.
Up, boom.
Now, you see how smooth I picked you up.
Dude.
Took care of you.
That's because I went up. Look at this.
Look at that.
That's
Just
330
perfect.
pounds. I'm a
Perfect.
load right there, man.
Listen, I'm the strongest man in the world at that point.
I'm telling you what, you must have been, because in that area, look how thick I am. I guarantee you I'm 335 pounds right there.
Are you really?
Yeah, I was thick and heavy right there. Funny thing about Rock, and I don't know if you ever experienced it. So Rock loved to kick my ass with my back to the Tron.
Right?
Right? You know why?
Why?
So he could watch himself kick my ass on the Tron. I swear to you, he would be wearing me out and not even looking at me. He's just sitting there hitting me like this, watching himself on the Tron kick my ass. And I said, I remember once I told him, I said, do you mind? I'm going to sell for you, but can you at least look at me while you're kicking my ass? And he just laughed. He had to laugh because he knew exactly I busted him.
So he admitted it.
Oh, yeah, he admitted it. He had no choice. He knew that I had busted himself checking himself out on the Tron.
Now, here's a good one. Hell in a Cell with Rikishi.
Man, this has got everybody in it. Triple H is in this. Rock, Stone Cold, everybody's in this thing. Kurt is in it. Where we picked the footage up, like we've had a hell of a fight, and we got up there, and basically we're trying to come up with a way to get Rikishi and myself out of the action so they can do the finish.
Right.
So I'm going to give Rikishi this big bump off the top into the truck.
Now, a man that large,
Yeah.
going off the top of that cage
Yeah.
into a back of a truck with hay in it. Number one, how did the truck with the hay get there?
I don't remember. It was some kind of really unorthodox way that somebody came down. Everybody stop in the ring.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, the key to people that don't realize it, everybody stopped. So everybody was focusing on what they needed to focus on.
As opposed to watching two different things.
Exactly. Everybody stopped moving so that the focus was right here. And that is a very large man taking a very big bump.
And that's something that you want to feature.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to throw that away.
Absolutely.
Right? So now he's out of action, and I've expelled so much energy and have taken so much abuse prior to that. Now I go back into a cell, so I can't make it back down the cell to get back in the ring, so that they were allowed to go into whatever the finish was there.
All right, now here's WrestleMania.
WrestleMania, this is 25? Or is this 20?
WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, this is 25. This is the closest thing that I ever had to a perfect match. And it wasn't perfect because he missed me.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, you can see Shawn pushing the referee and then going to pull the guy. Do you think maybe it was Shawn that didn't pull him closer to you?
No, I think he just
guy?
So this is something that you can't rehearse, right?
Right.
And then when you see a 6'9" missile coming at you, it's just like, I don't know that I want to really. I mean, he made an effort, but he needed to be at least 3 feet closer to me.
Now, what were you feeling after when you hit the floor?
So I got my bell rung here. This is close because there is my head.
Ooh.
That's close.
Now, would you say it's lucky that you kind of tilted your head a little bit?
If I had tilted my head, I'd break my neck.
Yeah.
In fact, even that way, I broke my little finger, the tip on my little finger, but it also went numb. So, you can kind of see me a little bit
doing your fingers,
checking my fingers and everything because it felt numb.
Now, just having the finger, like you said, that could have been far worse than the finger.
Oh, it could have been far. To have the numbness,
right?
just kind of reiterate how close I came to something
really bad
really bad happening there.
I mean, we all take risks and chances, but sometimes when we think we have a hold on it, sometimes it goes south.
Yeah.
And we just don't realize how close we are to becoming either paralyzed or death even.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time when I talk about wrestling, and people always want to get into the semantics of what wrestling is and what wrestling isn't. And I have to tell people, I was like, in any given match, on any given night, you're an inch away from something really catastrophic happening.
Absolutely.
And that was a prime example. Like, if I don't tuck my head, if I don't have the ability to tuck my head a little bit right there, I don't get up from that.
Yeah, it's over.
And that happens night in and night out with wrestling matches that people don't really, I don't think, give the proper respect to, and the danger and the thing that wrestlers are willing to do for the sake of their craft and to entertain people.
And I think that's the key. Everybody, when you think about pro wrestling, especially somebody that doesn't watch what we do or understand what we do, all that fake stuff, you don't realize it ain't fake like that.
Yeah.
Is it predetermined? Absolutely. But is the physicality fake? No, the physicality is very, very real.
Yeah.
We put our bodies, our lives on the line each and every time we step through those ropes.
Yeah.
So it's hard to sit here and to listen to people say what we do is not real when, number one, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And number three, you can't even make it look as good as we do.
Yeah, it really is disrespectful to use the F word,
right?
The fake word, because we are a specific form of entertainment.
Yep.
Right. I mean, that is what we are. We're sports entertainment, and it's funny because people want to talk about movies, right? Like, oh, it's all bullshit.
Right.
But really.
When you're watching Sylvester Stallone in Rambo and he's got the gun and he's shooting up all the people over there in Vietnam, is that real?
Right, exactly.
I mean, it might have happened, years before in 1960 in the actual war of Vietnam, but he's creating a story that was made years before he was even in the movie business.
Yeah.
And, so again, that's something that always bothered me a lot when people say things like that and they wonder why we get upset.
Yeah.
Because again, those surgeries that we have, the pain that we feel getting out of bed, just getting up out of a chair.
It's all very real.
It's very real.
Yeah.
There's no faking that. So I don't get people's understanding or logic when they say things like that.
Yeah. But you know what it did? I mean, knock on wood. I mean, I'm okay. But it added a little bit of a little more drama to the match that was already filled with drama.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it just gave it even a more sense of realism in the fact that I just lawn darted myself.
Now, is that
right
is that the first match you've had with Shawn at WrestleMania?
At WrestleMania, yes, 25. Yeah, This is the first time that we work at WrestleMania.
Because it seemed like you guys had magic. The chemistry was just there.
It was from early on, we've always just had incredible chemistry together. One of my favorite people to work with was Shawn. What's so cool about, and a lot of people don't really realize at this part of my career, a lot of times, the guys that I'm working with are so intimidated by working with me.
Right.
Like a lot of them had kind of grown up already watching me, and now they're, so they're really intimidated working with me. When I got to work against people like Shawn, I'm talking about in this era here, when I got to work against people like Shawn or Triple H, it really freed me up to just be Undertaker.
Right.
Because I didn't have to worry about what they were going to do, right? I didn't have to think about thinking for them. They knew exactly how to react and how to pace themselves and do these kind of things. So it just freed me up to just be Undertaker, and they could just be them because they knew I was going to be there for them. So
you didn't have to hold their hand. You could just be you and be your character and just do whatever you had to do to help tell that story even better.
Yeah, and that's why I think, I talk about it often about WrestleMania 25, 26, 27, and 28 is all like one continuous story.
Right.
Because I do 2 with Shawn, then I do the 2 with Triple H.
Triple H, yeah.
And of what we do,
right,
at its core, is some of the finest work that I think that I did. In the sense of wrestling, character, story, everything that's so important to what we do. I think those 4 matches probably, it's represented in those 4 matches the best that I think that I could do it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, take it out. Here's the last one we're going to view.
Okay.
Now, this is, I think, the most famous, not only Hell in a Cell match that you've had, but just in general.
Yeah, I think this is, yeah.
Now, did you know Mick was that crazy to go off the cage like that?
You know, bless his heart. Man, what Mick was willing to do. And again, I've said it a million times, and when I talk about this match, that I did not want any part of this.
This was all Mick.
This was all Mick.
Now, did you guys get approved by Vince to do this?
So I don't know. We kind of remember this a little differently. Like, he thinks it happened maybe a week out. I think it happened the day of, because I had refused to do this. Mm-hmm. I said, Mick, we don't need it. You know, I said we are good enough. Because Mick was worried that, because I had the first WrestleMania, first Hell in a Cell with Shawn, which was fantastic, which was Kane's debut, right? And it was an amazing Hell in a Cell. And Mick was worried that we wouldn't be able to live up to that one, right? So he gets this in his head, like, we'll fool them into thinking that they've seen something special. That was his mindset. And I'm like, Mick, we are good enough that we can come up with something that you don't have to kill yourself to pay off. And I refused to do it. I wouldn't even listen to him. Like, I'd shut it down. Like, no, I'm not doing it.
But he was persistent.
And he was persistent. And then he got the old man and got in his ear.
Now, how did he convince Vince? That's
this is, I mean, you have to think of the time period. This is what, 1998? It's a little different time period, right? And Mick, I mean, he was already extreme. He was already taking elbows onto the concrete from the apron and doing all these. He had that reputation, and he convinced Vince that he could do it safely.
Now, his tooth went through his lip, correct?
Not on that.
Okay.
It's not on this. It's when we go through when he went through the cage. Again, that's one of those instances. Another 2 inches of rotation, he doesn't get up, man.
Right.
But when he landed with so much force on that chokeslam through the cage that his incisor, his canine, I guess, his canine tooth went through his upper lip and lodged in his nostril. And I'm fighting, and we're fighting, right? And I'm trying to tell him just to stay down so I can pin him.
Right.
He keeps getting up because he wants to do the tacks. And I'm distracted because I think he's got a giant booger in his nose.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like a giant booger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is gross, right? And then come find out it's his tooth. And then he's sitting in the corner and he's putting his tongue through the hole that's in his lip.
Jesus.
I'm like, Mick, my goodness, man. He's like, have we done the tax yet? Like,
he isn't even where he is.
He's on, brother. He is gone for. There's a long period of time there where I'm hitting, like I'm holding him up and I'm punching him and I'm telling him, please, Mick, just stay down.
Yeah,
just stay down. And he kept getting up because he had to know about the tax, and then he wasn't satisfied until he had. I mean, he'd already. It is graphic in his obviously mental picture of the tax.
Right.
I don't think there's anything you're going to do that's going to top you getting thrown off and thrown through the cage. But that was Mick, man. That was just his dedication to what he brought to the table, and he knew that was his wheelhouse, and that was how he was going to pay this match off. And my goodness, I mean, if it's not the most famous match, it's one of them.
Absolutely.
And when people talk about, I get stopped to this day. People want to know about Hell in the Cell,
right?
And like again, it was in '98, and still, it lives. I think what we have not been a year or so ago, we had the 25th anniversary of it.
Right.
We sat down, we watched it together. It's
now, when you do that, do you see things the same or still a little different?
No, I still see him the same way. I still don't think we needed to do that. I'm glad that he's okay.
Right.
And we're. I mean, that match is so historic. I mean, that part I'm proud of, but I still, like, to this day, think that we still could have entertained that crowd without him, going through and.
When you were walking on top of that cage on the first, was it because of two big men on top and there was not enough support to hold you?
Yeah. So what we thought was going to happen is we thought it was going to give way a little bit, and because I went into this match, I had a broken ankle. See, yeah,
careful,
as soon as we stepped,
careful.
watch. Whoa, wait a minute.
Easy.
Right, because it's the panel on the other side that we're going to go through. But the thought is I'll choke slam him. It'll start to break, and then we would fight our way down the cage into the ring.
Right.
And then if you watch it, you'll see at one point I step off the panel and I step on the supports because it was giving way too fast.
Right.
So I stepped off. If I hadn't stepped off,
You'd have went through.
I'd have went through with it. I'd have landed on him.
Right.
And you know what I mean, dude. That is not.
But he probably would have got right back up again.
If anybody would have, it would have been Mick.
It's like Michael Myers and Jason.
Dude,
they sit right up.
I tell you what, the things that Mick did to his body to entertain our fans is incredible. And you know, I rarely mention talk about my ankle.
Right.
Because I feel like I don't think I should really complain too much about my broken ankle when he goes through what he goes through in this thing. But again, I mean, it's something that we're both extremely proud of. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think us watching it was very proud of what you guys did. It was an incredible thing, and you know, something that can never be duplicated.
I hope not. I don't wish that on anybody, man. It was brutality at its finest. I think
it was truly Hell in a Cell.
It truly was. That really exemplified what Hell in a Cell was supposed to be.
Jeez. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our show for today. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank the dead man for joining us, bringing up all those great memories, and I'm sure that those memories hurt even as you were sitting here.
Yeah, I started feeling things that I hadn't felt in a while, man. I appreciate that.
Please make sure you subscribe not only to this channel, but to the Dead Man's channel, 6 Feet Under. Please join us the next time we have our videos out, and make sure you do me one thing. Get the tables and testify.
Brother.